G'day, I'm Paul. This is the new Mitsubishi Triton. You guys keep messaging me asking me, when are you going to drive this, Paul? Well, today is going to be the day. We're not going to be doing any on-road driving today. Today's all about off-road driving. These are still pre-production cars. So we're going to have a little play here in the sand. This is actually where they did a lot of development work for the Triton. So I'm excited to see what that's like. Now, we have shot a lot of Triton content before. So if you do want to check out any of that, scroll down to the links in the description below and you'll see all of the details there. Now, if you haven't done so already, please make sure you subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon as well so you can find out every single time we drive something brand new like this. But let's get started. So let's kick off with just a few highlights. Now, I'm sorry, I'm going to be squinting a lot here because it is super bright out here. We're currently in a remote part of South Australia. This is actually where they've done a lot of development work for Triton, specifically on sand traction control. So there is a sand mode, and this is what they were doing here, calibrating that. We're going to be doing some testing on that. But I'll kick off with the pricing. So the entire range kicks off with the GLX 4x2, which is just under 44 grand. There will be other variants coming later at a lower entry point. So that will be cheaper. It'll be stuff like your tray on the back instead of this style side, so there will be more affordable options coming, including a manual, I'm told. And then at the top end you have the GSR 4x4, which is just under $64,000, so that's gone up by almost 7 grand, and they've justified that with all the new tech and features that I'll run you through shortly. This one here that you're looking at is the GLS, one down from the top, and that's priced at just under $60,000. This actually has a stack of accessories fitted to it, so I thought I'd run you through some of those and what we can expect when it does finally launch, and then we will do a proper detailed review when this launches in February next year. So I'll leave that detailed stuff for later on. So you've got your obvious stuff like your bonnet protector here. You'll also notice if you go down a little bit further, you actually have a bash plate that they've developed. This thing is thick, 3mm thick steel there. It's coupled with plastic in parts as well. But this is designed as an accessory if you are going to be doing a lot of off-road driving. That's primarily what that's there for. It is full of sand at the moment though, so I'm sure they have tested this, but I'd be curious to know what happens if that actually does fill up with sand in terms of cooling and protection of the elements underneath. But it is good that it's there and available as an accessory. You'll notice as well that outside of the top spec model, a lot of these have the chrome highlights here around the headlights. This one actually has headlight protectors as part of an accessory pack as well. Now around the side here, they haven't spoken about it yet, but I suspect they will offer a set of all-terrains as an option. This is fitted with an all-terrain tyre, but it's primarily a highway-focused tyre. I'd love to see a chunky set of tyres available here as an option to really carve up mud and sand. We've got a snorkel here that's available as an option as well. So that's if you want a little bit more wading depth and a bit more flexibility when you are doing off-road driving. Then you'll notice down here as well, a meaty set of side steps. I have complained about these in previous vehicles where they've just been entirely plastic. If you look at something like a Raptor that's got a proper set of side steps on it, or perhaps the Hilux GR Sport as well, this is a much better alternative if you're going to be dropping the car on rocks and that type of thing. It just gives you a bit more protection on the side of the vehicle because it is easy to do damage if you drop the vehicle on rocks. Around the back here, you're going to find drum brakes down there. I've already pointed that out when we were at the international reveal, but no disc brakes available at all on the Triton range. You've got this sail plane over here, so metal there, Mitsubishi cut out of there, and then around the back here it appears that this is an accessory as well, this step here. So integrated into this part of the rear bumper on both sides is your rear cross traffic alert. So there's actually a module that sits in there and that does all of your work for blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert when you are in reverse or have a vehicle coming up beside you. So let me know what you reckon just about the design of the Triton. Seeing it out here in its elements, it actually doesn't look too bad. So keen for your feedback. What do you reckon about the design? What do you reckon about the pricing now that you've seen it all? I'll leave a link to the pricing in the description below as well if you do want a little bit more detail on that. Now, before we go for a spin, let me run you through the interior. So up the top here, you've got a 9-inch infotainment system. It's a color touchscreen. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, very familiar system. You would have seen something like this in the Outlander. Pretty good to use, high resolution screen, so it does all of that stuff really well. Set of air vents directly beneath that, and then a screen there for the climate controls. And I love that everything has a button. They haven't tried to integrate it all into the touchscreen at the top there. So it means that all of those controls are going to be pretty straightforward to use. Rear diff lock button, wireless phone charger, and then as you work your way down here, you've got your drive controls. So this is probably one of the best things about Triton, has been for some time. It's that Super Select system. So this is now Super Select 2, so advancements to the drive modes. You've got 7 drive modes to pick from. You've also got 2-wheel drive high range, 4-wheel drive high range that you can use on sealed surfaces, 4-wheel drive high range with a locked center diff, and it has a limited slip differential there for the center diff, and then a 4-wheel drive low range as well. Smaller 7-inch display ahead of the driver there too, with a driver distraction monitor. So pretty nice setup here, all very modern as well. So second row, what's it like? So this stays here, that doesn't move at all, but you can drop this down. So this gives you access to a little bit of storage there. You've also got controls to drop your spare tyre down. That's also where the jack is. Now, in addition to all of this, you've got USB charging down the bottom here. It's a mixture of C and A, 12 volt outlet. Climate controls, your air vents are up here, and this is similar system to what we've seen in Pajero Sport as an example. So basically just pulls in air from the front of the car here and then spits it out at the back. So it's not actually an additional air conditioning system. It is simply a blower that is taking whatever temperature of air you have inside the car and then putting it out the back here. So not an amazing system, but it is there nevertheless. All right, let's hop into the driver's seat and we'll go see what the new Triton is like. Okay, so we've just switched the Triton on. You've got a start button down here. What we're going to be doing is using the sand mode. So we're going to four-wheel drive high range with the center diff locked, put it into sand mode. The tuning that they've done here has actually allowed the vehicle to customize how much braking intervention it has as part of the traction control system and how much torque it's letting through to the wheels. So quite a lot of work goes into it, and they have a custom tune here. In fact, they have a custom tune for the ride as well. In Australia, it uses a slightly bigger set of dampers. So they have done a lot of work on that. They actually did a lot of work at the proving ground where we test at, so they have been busy bees. But let's set off and see exactly what this feels like. I'm excited to see how much of a difference this engine is actually going to make. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to hear this as we set off, but this is what it sounds like. Beast. All right, here we go. So very first initial impressions. Literally the first time I've driven this. We've got a bumpy section here on the sand. Wow, that ride is significantly better than the old one. Just feels much more smoother. So this uses, depending on which variant you go for, either a 3-leaf for the comfort setup or a 4-leaf leaf spring suspension setup at the rear. Both of them run the same custom tuned damper. Here's a hill here we're going to climb. Oh, that is just so much sharper than the previous gen. Like, just the throttle response is significantly better. You just get on it and it basically just surges immediately. So peak torque comes in at just 1500 RPM. So 2.4 litre twin turbocharged version of this engine now. They say that most of the components on the engine have changed. They've also reduced the friction as well, which has given them better fuel economy. So it's now under 8 litres per 100 Ks. And that has also meant an easier ability to generate power and torque. So I think that is where they've got most of their advantages. So 150 kilowatts of power, 470 Newton meters of torque. It is short on litres in this segment like Hilux, LDV T60 and Ranger as well, which offer 500 Newton meters out of their 4-cylinder engines. But I am liking just the immediacy of that torque. As soon as you get on the throttle, that transmission is ready to mumbo. That is feeling very nice and eager there. The ride is fantastic too. Like, it's making all the difference here on the sand. Sand, when you get over sort of corrugated sections of it, can really be back-breaking. We did actually have a crack in this earlier in previous gen of Triton earlier today, and there is a big difference. You're getting that doughy throttle that takes a little bit of time to wind up. You're also getting a ride that is, firmer than what this is. It's actually feeling really good. Quite hot outside today as well, so 26 degrees, but it's still sort of punting along very nicely. This sand mode works well too. I'm finding that I'm able to just stay in the throttle and it sorts itself out. It's not overly intrusive and it's just giving me everything that I need. So the steering has changed as well. It has a dynamic ratio, and then in addition to that, the turning speed has actually increased. So it's now 3.3 turns lock to lock, whereas the older one was closer to 4. So it actually feels, as soon as you tip in, it actually feels like it is acting much quicker than the old one was. Turning circle is pretty big in my opinion, 12.7 meters. So I don't know that that's amazing, but the actual steering ratio is significantly faster as well. It is funny, while we're driving here on this off-road section, we've been told to turn the driver distraction monitor off. That is something that's been mandated by ANCAP here in Australia for a 5-star safety rating, and it shows you just how stupid a safety body like that is, because they don't actually do any real-world testing. And of all the cars we've tested recently that have needed that technology for a 5-star rating, it has never actually worked that well, even on the more expensive brands. So I think that tells you everything you need to know about how effective that safety body is. All right, I'm going for a faster punt now. This is unreal. We actually had a bit of fun with Ranger Raptor when that launched in sand like this, and the Ranger Raptor has a big old set of all-terrains. This is on a very much a milder set of all-terrains, but it is still actually a heap of fun to drive around here. I'm actually just in love with this steering. It is highly responsive, and you just have lots of feedback there. So they've ditched that hydraulic system and gone for an EPAS system. Getting in a little bit sideways there. Bit of a jump there as well. This is why people don't like me driving their cars. The stability control is actually doing a fantastic job, because I have a lot of input here, but it's being very sensible with with the amount of traction control it's putting in there. It's not really going crazy with the traction control until I'm properly sideways and got some action on it. So yeah, that is awesome. And it is worth pointing out as well that running tyre pressures are around 18 PSI at the moment. So while it does have a sand mode, you really do need to make sure that you have everything else in place when you are sand driving. Just putting it in sand mode isn't actually going to be enough for you, because you will actually end up stuck and you'll be holding up everybody behind you at whichever sand track you're on. Okay, so I'm going to be a little bit silly here. Let's see what this is like with a little bit of circle work. Yeah. Nice. That is good fun. Okay, we're going to wrap things up here with a little bit of rock driving. Yeah, nice. Feels really good. So again, this has a rock mode that you access in four-wheel drive, low range, but it gives us a good idea of what the suspension is like over a more rough terrain there, and that actually all felt really nice. We're going to get a proper drive of this when it does get closer to launch in February. I still think they're probably putting some final touches on a lot of this. It has already gone on sale in Thailand, but we'll be one of the first markets after Thailand to get this. So there will be a proper drive later on. So for the moment, it has just been this off-road drive, and I tell you, I'm pretty impressed with it. So that has been your first look at the Mitsubishi Triton, or first drive of it in this secluded environment. Let me know what you reckon in the comments section below. You're a fan of what you're seeing? You're going to look into a Triton when they do go on sale. I'm keen for your feedback. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure you like it and you share it with your mates. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon. But until next time, take it easy.